Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special bonus episode of the Flicker Effect Podcast. I'm David Lotz. Joining me is Bobby Jackson. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, not much. What's up with you?
Not much. It's late or early, depending on how you look at it. It is.
Right.
It's after midnight. It's early Monday morning now for me. It's still Sunday for you.
Yeah, about 9 o'clock.
So have you watched Game of Thrones yet?
Not yet. Actually, after this podcast, I'm going to go and watch it because I've been anxiously awaiting it. So I am ready. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Okay.
I'll say no more.
Okay, good. That's all I need.
All I'll say is it's good.
Oh. Well,
you don't have to. I don't think you have to feel like, oh, what a disappointing first episode. Nope.
Oh, that's great to hear then. Because that can happen. Sometimes,
it can.
They'll come back with the first episode of whatever it is that you watch, and it's just sort of like lackluster or just setting the stage for everything else. And so it's more build up than anything actually happening. So good to hear that this is a good first episode back.
It is. I think it is. I'll be definitely curious to talk more about it, like in detail, but yeah, it's because it's interesting, but no, it's good. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So I guess I should mention what this bonus episode is about. It's about Comic-Con. Comic-Con is this week. It is, like I said, for me, it's Monday already, and Comic-Con starts Wednesday night.
And you're leaving tomorrow.
I fly out early tomorrow morning. Well, yeah. Again, tomorrow, it doesn't seem like tomorrow, but yeah, right. Early Tuesday morning. Flying to San Diego. Yeah, this will be the first year I get to San Diego like a day early, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like we talked about I think we talked about it a little bit on the last episode. I don't know if we did, but yeah, it'll be nice to get to San Diego and not be like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind getting in and just jumping right into Comic-Con, but I also love the city of San Diego. It'll be nice to get there a day early and be able to like settle and maybe actually just go out and see San Diego for, a few hours, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, I know I probably sound like a broken record with the whole like, oh, I can't wait to have nice weather, but I can't wait to have nice weather. It's been so hot here in Orlando. So, no, I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it should be pretty good weather for even my standards. It should be pretty good weather.
Oh yeah,
what I've seen.
Because I remember last year you and I think everybody seemed like, oh, it's kind of hot. And I fully agree. Like compared to previous years in San Diego, last year was probably the hottest Comic-Con I had attended. With that said, for me, it was still amazing, but it was warmer than usual.
Yeah. And this week, looking real quick, it's Monday. I'll say Monday through Sunday. It's about average of 77 degrees.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So, like I said, that's even great for me.
Wow.
Of it, and it'll be sunny, but it'll be about 77, 78 degrees.
I hadn't even looked at the weather yet. That's amazing. It's been so gross here. I mean, yeah. Oh my god, I can't wait. Anyway, yeah, it can be sunny all day long with those kind of temperatures. I do not care.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're here to talk just for a little bit, probably not too long, but for a little bit about Comic-Con. Kind of a little preview episode. We're going to be out there as has been the norm for the past few years. Though it's funny, I forget now that like it was just 2 years ago. I think it was 2015 that I missed.
That's right.
I know it's funny, right? Like now I've been so often that it was only just, I don't know, recently that I thought about it. I'm like, oh, that's right. There was that one year I wasn't there. Like Bobby basically was there by himself. I don't even think Yasha was there.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, I was there by myself. Yeah, that's I've forgotten about it, but it was that same year. I think you and Adriel had your second child, right?
Yeah, and we just had our daughter Imogen, and I knew, I was like, I remember my wife was amazing. She was like, oh yeah, you could totally still go. And I'm like, no, like it's only been like a month since she was born. I'm like, I can't, trust me that I would love to go, but no, I can't do that.
And the other thing too, I believe, was that weighed into it was that you had only got a 1 day maybe pass. I think actually, initially, and so you were kind of like or maybe it was 2 days, like Thursday, Sunday, and
I
you were
th-
kind of like,
I think so. I
eh,
think I did manage to get Thursday, Sunday. And to me, it was like, sure, if I had managed somehow to get 4 days, because at that
right,
point, we weren't able to get press badges yet. And if I had been able to get 4 days, I probably would have been extremely tempted to make it happen. But yeah, since I only got Thursday, Sunday, I was like, I just can't justify the trip. I can't do it.
yeah,
And I remember I even returned the badges to Comic Con, which you can do and get your money back, and
yep.
which kind of hurt. It was terrible. I hated doing that.
Ugh. But this year's a different story. We're back on track.
We're back on track. It's funny, and I mean, I'm definitely getting to that point too, where I'm like, am I going to be able to keep going every year? I mean, like, I've got a
Mm.
family, got a lot going on. I'm like, I want to keep coming every year, trust me. But every year now, like this year, I'm like, there's that part of me is like, could this be it for a little bit? Like, I don't want it to
Hmm.
be, but
Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes you have to make those hard choices, and
yeah.
it kind of sucks because it's hard enough for people who live here to even be able to get a badge, but it's when you can actually get one and still not sometimes go, that's even harder.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be an easy decision to make next year. We'll
Yeah.
see. But anyway, so yeah, we got Comic Con coming up. I guess we're gonna talk a little bit about what we're looking forward to. Yeah, just like I said, a little preview episode. I guess yeah, I'll just start off by asking you, Bobby, what are you most looking forward to this year, other than
Well,
the obligatory Marvel panel?
exactly. I was going to say, well, we have to discount certain things because pretty much if you say Saturday in Hall H, that takes up everything because you got your Warner Brothers, you got your Marvel, there's the Netflix for Stranger Things, and then there's also the. I was telling one of my friends about the fact that on Saturday, because we're typically in there the entire day, we usually use one of the panels to sort of stretch our legs and walk around. And this year, I don't feel like I can do that because the one that, well, and I I don't mean this as any
I know,
disrespect
I
to
know.
anyone that might be listening, but we tend to usually do that during the Women Who Kick Ass
Yes,
panel.
panel. Yeah.
And it's because whatever reason, it's maybe some people on there that isn't sort of a highlight to see, maybe per se. But this year is Charlize Theron, and I will be front and center eyes glued to the stage while she's there. So I won't be leaving this time around, I don't believe, because there's also a Westworld panel in there too. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty jam packed this year.
Saturday is interesting. I agree. I looked at the Saturday lineup for Hall H, and yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just kind of repeating what you just said, but it's like I feel like maybe it was just last year that I was like, don't get me wrong, Hall H on Saturday is still great, but there was even I think a couple panels last year where I was like, I could skip that and I could skip that, but this one, it's funny when you look at it, it almost doesn't look like as many panels because really
Exactly.
I feel like there was usually like one more kind of shoved in there, but this time it's like you got Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
you've got
You
like
usually have like maybe a Lionsgate
yeah,
it used to be back in the day at 20th Century Fox, but now
yeah,
20th Century Fox is, I think, on Friday this year.
yeah, I
So
think so.
it's a little bit different.
But yeah, with Stranger Things and Westworld and obviously Marvel finishing out the day as usual, it's like, oh, dude, I can't. Like again, the only reason for me I could still see maybe taking a break and a stretcher during Women Who Kick Ass. And again, no offense, it's just like that's a panel that is interesting as it can be. It's not a panel that's like showing you anything new. It is just a straight up panel of 4 or 5 actresses, and it's again still interesting, but it's like it's a panel that if you have to compare it to the others, it's like, well, that's I hate to say that's the one I'm gonna miss, but
Mm, yeah. I can
yeah.
see.
And I hadn't even heard like is Kevin Smith doing panels anymore?
Did he do? I thought he did one
I
last
think he
year,
did
but
one last year.
but I don't believe he's doing one this year.
He's not at all, huh? Wow.
Not at all. But he's gonna have a presence. He's gonna be around there because
They're doing Hollywood Babylon, I know. Yeah.
exactly, and I believe they're doing Batman on Batman as well.
Okay.
So he's definitely going to be around in the area. But as far as actually having a actual panel this year, I don't think so. And maybe that's offset by the fact that he's going to be doing Hollywood Babylon and Batman on Batman, so that kind of gets him to sort of exercise his normal panel type things that he does.
And while we're talking about that kind of outside stuff real quick, since we're on that subject, like it's interesting that like Nerdist is not doing a live Nerdist podcast this year.
Yeah.
So that's different. I don't know how long they've been doing that, but it surprised me when I heard they weren't doing one.
And then you have also no Nerd HQ. Is it Nerd
Yeah,
HQ?
Nerd HQ. Yeah, no Nerd HQ this year.
Yeah.
Which is I'm sure there's still plenty to do outside of the convention. There's no doubt. But with that said, Nerd HQ always felt like almost like a kind of a second subcon,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
if you couldn't go to Comic-Con, sure, you can go stand in the lines and do the different experiences and stuff. But at least you could also still go to Nerd HQ and actually go to like panels.
Mm-hmm.
And now without that being there, I hadn't heard if anything was kind of like maybe going to kind of move in and fill that role. I assume not, which is a bummer because it's like,
Right.
yeah, you don't have that. But yeah, and then going back to, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, well, I don't know if you should finish or I should finish, but I was just gonna get back to what I am looking forward to. I only really sort of talked about that Hall H stuff, but specifically speaking, besides that stuff, I'm looking forward to on Thursday for the Marvel Inhumans panel.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll make it for that, but I'm very curious what people will think coming out of it. And if they show any footage, what people think of a little bit more of an in-depth look at it before it actually comes out. So I'm very curious about it. I don't know if I'll make it to it, but yeah, definitely want to hear more. And hopefully people come out of it with a positive vibe. Also on that day, there's Bright for Netflix that has Will Smith in it and Joel Edgerton. That this big movie for them on Netflix and it's directed by David Ayer. So I want to see that. That's in Hall H. And then on Friday, pretty much I would say the big things I'm kind of looking forward to on that Friday, if I can get into them, is the television stuff. There's one panel for The Gifted, which is the X-Men TV series on Fox. There's one for the 100 that I've never went to one of their panels, but I've been watching the show since it's been on, and I've just hasn't had a chance to go see one of their panels, usually because it ends up being at the same time as something else that I want to see. And I think later in the day, towards the end of the day, there's a panel in Hall H for Marvel's Defenders.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the main stuff I want to see. There's some stuff on Sunday like that I'll usually will go see, like the Supernatural stuff, or sometimes if I have time, I'll check out one of the Doctor Who things. And Doctor Who should actually be pretty big this year because they just announced a female lead playing the Doctor this year or this next season coming up. So it should be interesting.
Definitely. No, what I was going to say real quick, kind of jumping back into Saturday, and I guess I can start in the middle of the con, start there, but it's a bummer that Star Trek Discovery is having their panel on Saturday, right? In the middle of when hopefully we'll be in Hall H doing all that, because I'd love to be at that Star Trek Discovery panel. I mean, we're early on enough where we haven't seen much, and that could be a panel that could be interesting to see how much more they reveal, how much more they show, what they talk about. So I would love to be there in Ballroom 20 for that, but I will say hopefully it won't happen. But if I don't get into Hall H, I will try to make it. Other than that, it's like kind of starting again back on Thursday.
There's a lot of TV this year. I mean, there's always a lot of TV, but this year, like you said, like Saturday in Hall H is the movies.
Yeah.
But even then, it's really kind of just Warner Brothers and Marvel or Disney Marvel essentially for the movie presence. But then all the other panels in Ballroom 20 are all TV shows like specifically speaking, the CW superhero shows, and then you've got some of the Fox stuff for Family Guy, American Dad.
Yep.
And typically in years past, the TV presence has been on Fridays, but they also have a big presence on Friday in that Ballroom 20. So it's a lot of TV this year.
Yeah, like you said, I'd love to be there for Inhumans on Thursday. And I mean, I'll try to make it happen, but that's going to be one of those situations where I'm not going to be willing to like camp out in Ballroom 20
Right.
just to see that, because it's the last panel of the day. And I honestly don't want to sit through the strain just because I'm not caught up. I like that
Yeah.
show, but I'm not caught up. So I don't want to sit through that panel. And, Legion, I don't want to sit through that either. So it's like, sure, if I could get into Inhumans, I would kill to be in there.
Yeah.
But because I would like to see more to get me excited, because that's a Marvel property that is one of those few that I've actually read some of the comics and I enjoy it and I want that to be good, but I'm still kind of skeptical on it just because it's a network TV show and it's got that look about it and I'm kind of not sure. And even the IMAX stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to go, obviously I'm going to go see it in IMAX, but I'm worried about it. But yeah, I'd like to be there on Thursday, Hall H on Thursday. There's nothing I'm going to probably try to do. I mean, if I could be there for that Death Note panel,
The bright Death Note panel.
yeah, I would definitely be interested in that because Death Note has me very interested. There's no doubt, even though I'm not familiar with that anime, but it looks good to me. Otherwise, on Thursday, I think it would be nice. Not, nice isn't the way to put it, but I would love to be able to be at the Adam West celebration. And I think Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman are hosting that panel. That's in 60E at 7 p.m. And that would be nice to go to if I could pull that off.
Yeah.
Moving on to Friday. Friday it's like, normally we're playing the Hall H line game. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, it would be nice to be into some of these panels and Hall H that day, but it's probably not going to happen just because we'll be lining up for the next day. And like Game of Thrones is the one I always miss. I've never been there for a Game of Thrones panel. I would always love to, but it never happens. And this year is particularly interesting because normally, you have a Game of Thrones panel at Comic-Con and you're basically right after the season. And now we're right at the beginning of the season. And I mean, I haven't been there for one previously, so I couldn't say like how much it'll differ, but I'm sure it'll be a different vibe since they'll be, I'm sure, taking a lot of questions about the season that they're just now beginning. That just started tonight. And normally that's not the case,
No.
And yeah, Saturday, hopefully in Hall H all day. That's the big plan with Warner Brothers, Stranger Things, Westworld, Marvel. And I'm hoping, I don't know, like, well, we always kind of like see how Sunday plays out and, we just kind of leave whenever we're ready. But part of me is like, I'm all for maybe taking more advantage of Sunday this year and actually like spending more time at the con this year if possible. I mean, if we have to leave, we have to leave. But I don't know. Maybe there's that part of me that's like, oh my God, if I never come back, I don't want to leave.
Squeeze every drop out of it that you
You
can.
know?
Yeah.
And it's funny this year. This will be one of those years too. I've never been someone that is like has to get out onto the floor for like exclusive merch. There's definitely people every day that do the lineup just to get into the exhibit hall right when it opens so they can run over to a certain booth and get exclusive merch. And I've never been that guy. Like, I mean, and I'm saying that as I sit in a room right now that I have some collectibles. I'm not saying I don't have anything, but I don't know. I've never been a big like collectibles person really for the most part. But I will say that this year there's a couple things that I'm like, oh, you know what? I would like that. Like Funko, I think this year has some Scott Pilgrim stuff that they're putting out exclusive to Comic-Con that I'm like, God damn it, I actually kind of want those. I'm like, I might have to be that guy that like has to run over there and get in a line to buy that stuff. And then, one thing I will say that is a problem for me is art, like Mondo stuff. I really dig, and they've got one or two prints this year that I'm like from like 2001 that I want. and stuff like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see how much I actually spend. I
That
try.
definitely makes it harder when you go to Comic Con if there's some merch that you want because you have to divide your time at that point
Yeah,
because you usually are either trying to get to a panel or in line for something to be able to do something else. And you have to spend that as well to be able to get a lot of the merch. And so, unless you know someone else that wants something similar that you can say, "Hey, could you pick me up this? I know you're going
right.
to be in line for it." Then you're kind of having to pick and choose what you can do with your time. That's always the hardest part.
Yeah. What else is there? I mean, I'm hoping to go to that John Barrowman panel again this year. I think, but the funny thing is, last year I think it was the last day. It was on Sunday. This year it's
Yeah,
on, I think, the first day. It's on Thursday, right?
exactly. Yeah, it is.
Which feels weird because it does feel like the kind of panel that's good for a last day panel. It feels
Sure.
like, okay, we've had 3 or 4 days here, and now let's just kind of like make jokes and have a good time. And it was nice. I felt like it was a good fit on a Sunday for
It was.
me. I
Yeah.
mean, not to say it's not going to work on a Thursday. You know what I mean? I don't know, but
hmm
I'm hoping to go to that on Thursday for sure. I forget what time that is. John
I think it's
Barrowman.
pretty early, if I'm not mistaken, like almost one of the first things of the day. It's last time I think it was like you said, it was sort of a little bit on Sunday. We had time to make it in there, and
Yeah.
everybody it was a full room. But yeah, if I
Oh, and
remember correctly, it was like early
it's
day.
I didn't even realize it's not even in the convention center. It's in the Hilton Bayfront.
Oh, I didn't even look to see where it was at.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is at 11 a.m. on Thursday over at the Indigo. I guess that's what the Indigo Ballroom at the Hilton
hmm
Bayfront. But yeah,
yeah,
if for anyone who's listening who's going, if you haven't been to a John Barrowman panel before, I think when I talked about this last year, I had watched his panel in my hotel room at Dragon Con because I didn't actually make it down to the room, and they broadcasted it up to our hotel rooms. And that's the first time I'd seen one of his panels, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And so when I saw that he was at Comic Con last year, we made a point to go, and it was great. So
yeah, it was. I think the other thing that about Comic Con we didn't really touch on, and at least I don't recall us talking about it since the news had sort of dropped, but they had announced at some point in time that Comic Con will be in San Diego until 2020.
yeah, we never talked about that. It's funny, like it's you and I, and I think Yasha too, but you and I have talked about this a lot. I feel like in the podcast the past couple years or so, and I feel like for the most part, we both agree that it's great in San Diego, and we both agree it needs more space. I
Yeah,
feel like you've been more frustrated by it than I have been.
for sure.
You've been more open to the idea of it moving to say Anaheim or LA or what have you, and I've been more on the nostalgic, like, oh my god, but it's San Diego. Like you can't leave San Diego. And don't get me wrong, I still feel that way, but there's no doubt I'm coming more to your side, Bobby. I'm I'm getting more and more frustrated. As say the four of us are having a harder and harder time here on the podcast, all getting badges, and it's frustrating that we can't all necessarily go, and that there's a lot of people out there that don't get the chance. There's you also, even if you are lucky enough to go, it's also nice to share in the experience with other people, especially people who haven't done it before. And when you can't bring those people with you because they can't get badges, it's frustrating. And yeah, to to not feel like San Diego as a city and the convention center is not making a huge effort to really expand, and it's frustrating when it doesn't seem like that they have to, because Comic-Con is just going to stay there anyway. And
Yeah,
it's like, damn it, come on. Like, I don't want to see it move, but something's got to happen. Something's got to happen, you know?
yeah. That's my problem with it, and you just encapsulated it perfectly. It's just that it's frustrating that the city isn't even trying to have any pretenses about trying to expand that the convention center. They're just kind of like, well, we're going to call your bluff. You're not really going to move because you don't want to move. and we're not going to expand this at all. So it's just going to continue being a tight fit for anybody who really wants to go. And it's not so much for me in the sense that maybe I won't be able to get a badge and get in, because at least right now we're able to get press badges. So that makes it a little bit easier for us. But it's not about just that. There's friends that I have that have never had a chance to go and experience it inside the convention center to see some of the panels and everything else. And it'd be great to have them to be able to experience that as well, not just to be able to go downtown and experience the outside of it, but to have the full experience of everything. And they just can't. It's just very, very hard to be able to get that badge. And so it's just a little bit frustrating that they won't even try to make it expand any expansion or anything whatsoever to make it more accommodating for more people to be able to go.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating. It makes me almost, since they don't seem like they want to leave. It does make me even more open to the idea. Then finally, maybe we could just have WonderCon become bigger and bigger, and I'll start making that trip instead or something, you know. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see it move, but it's annoying. So
Yeah.
I forgot we hadn't really talked about that.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago that the news had broke. I think it was like
No,
maybe a couple weeks ago.
no, it wasn't. But still, it's a bummer. I
Yep.
mean, again, it's nice to stay in San Diego, but I wish something were going to change.
Absolutely.
Well, anything else? I mean,
Yeah.
I know we're
I
just
was
kind
trying
of
to.
running over this quickly, but
Yeah. No. I think if there's one thing that I'm hoping to see uh, more than anything is, well, two things really, and they all have to do with Hall H on Saturday. But the biggest thing I want to see is excitement from everybody going into the Warner Brothers panel for Justice League, because I've said it before on this podcast and many times and over that Justice League is probably the one movie I've looked forward to since I was a kid, before they even were having all these different comic book movies and everything, because it was one of the first books that I remember reading, like a team book. I wasn't into Avengers at that time when I was a kid. I was heavily into Superman when I was a small kid, probably like 8 or 9. And I had the Super Friends on TV, so I was always familiar with those group of characters together. And to finally see that on the big screen for me is going to be a big deal. And I'm really, really, really hoping that they get it right and just create something that everyone can be happy with. And so that's like my biggest thing I'm really waiting to see, aside from Avengers Infinity War stuff, is this Justice League, and I'm hoping that they nail it and they really do a good job with it.
do you think they will? Like, what's your gut
I
feeling?
do. I do. Yeah, I my gut feeling is that it will be good in terms of like levels of good. That I don't know, and it's harder to say. But I think people will come out of it on the positive side more so than anything negative, because from the first thing that we saw at Comic Con last year and the footage that we saw, I thought that looked good, and then the trailer that they had beyond that looked good. So I haven't seen anything that has me questioning it or turning up an eye to it to where I'm like, okay, is this really going to be any good? Nothing has made me question it so far. So obviously there's ways that something can look good in just what they're showing us and then end up being bad. But I don't want to take away anything from what Zack Snyder's done with the project already, but knowing that Joss Whedon is in there and they've been doing some additional shooting, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he is doing the edit and final cut of the
Yeah, I
film as
think so.
well. I have confidence in that whatever they're keeping and whatever they're shooting and additionally will make for a very good movie at the end.
If there's one thing that worries you the most, what would that be?
Um, well, there is one thing,
I know I'm putting you on the
and
spot.
no, there is one thing, and I'm hoping. I really don't. I can't say because it could be spoilerish. But that one thing is, I'm hoping that if it does happen, it's very quick and over with fast, and so that the rest of the movie plays out the way I want it to. But yeah, that's the one thing that I'm most worried about. And maybe second thing would be tone, but I think I have a feeling that they're going to get the tone right from what I've seen so far. But yeah, it's just a spoilery thing that is hinted at supposedly happening in it that I'm not really on board with, but hoping that it just happens fast and we move on from it.
Now I'm curious. I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
I'll tell you off the mic.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I've been a big fan of DC stuff, but I've been skeptical about this stuff as well. And Justice League, I don't know, man. I'm nervous about it. That's all. That's all I got.
The whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been nervous about a lot of this, and I think the biggest thing for me right now is, like you kind of pointed at, the tone and just kind of the overall kind of look of it. And like I see images, like they just, Entertainment Weekly, I think, just put out another image, and it's funny. They put out this image, and I feel like there's like, okay, look, a new image, and like the image isn't even that good. It's like, okay, it's Batman and Wonder Woman and the Flash standing there, and all right. Like, I've seen pictures of them standing around before. Like, what's different about this? But still, every time I see a picture of the Flash, and I like Ezra Miller a lot, I'm looking forward to his portrayal of the Flash, but that costume is, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the look. But
me either. But I feel like I'll just eventually get used to it, and that it just kind of grows on you after you see it so many times. But I'll never really be able to just outright say I'm a fan of it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, if it's one of those things where if his performance is great and the movie's great, like the costume, then fine. I won't care as much. I'll agree with you that I'll never probably be like fully on board with the way that looks no matter what. But as long as the movie's good, I'll let that go.
Exactly.
Yeah, unless you have anything else, I think it kind of covers what we're looking forward to. And again, it's Monday now for me, and we'll probably be putting out an episode like we did last year almost every day of the con, so look out for those. It's nice being able to record in person, so I'll look forward to doing that. Not doing this over Skype like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
We're bummed that Yasha's not going to be there this year. It sucks, but yeah, he just has other plans, unfortunately, and it's just how it works out. He'll be in Costa Rica. He'll be having a good time.
He will.
Yeah, but no, we'll have a good time at Comic-Con, and it sounds like the weather should be amazeballs, so I can't wait for that. And yeah, man, I'll see you in a couple days.
Exactly.
Which is kind of crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, look out for all of our podcasts we'll be putting out. Make sure to check out our Instagram. That's newer for us, having an Instagram account. It's just Flickr Effect. And so there's not a lot of content on there yet since we just got it started, but I would say that Comic-Con will probably be where it starts to blow up for us in terms of actually getting a lot of stuff on there. And our Twitter account as well, that's Flickr_Effect. Make sure to look for that. And we'll be posting stuff on our Facebook page and all that stuff too. So we can't wait. Thanks for joining me for this little bonus episode, Bobby.
No problem. My pleasure.
It's been fun. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
Thanks for listening.